I'm Holly Copsey and welcome to episode 23 of VPTV. Every week I share my tips around productivity and my experiences from growing my business over the last 6 years. In today's video, I want to talk to you about something that's really helped me to better manage my time and, most importantly, to ensure I'm focusing on the right priorities in my business, and it all starts with your calendar. Timeboxing, or time blocking as it's also known, is a time management technique that helps you to plan, prioritise and focus on the right work. Rather than following a to-do list from a notepad or a separate task management platform, timeboxing simply means you put your tasks directly into your calendar, allocating an appropriate and realistic period to completing each of them. Rather than sitting at your desk every morning and wondering where to start, your day can be clearly laid out to address your priorities and ensure you complete not only the routine must-do tasks, but that you also work on projects critical to strategic growth. There's a great quote that says, "Show me your calendar and you show me your priorities," which I love because it's so true. How easy is it to get to the end of the day or end of the week and find that you haven't spent anywhere near as much time as you'd hoped on that all-important project or made any progress with ventures that will drive the growth of your business? By using the timeboxing technique, you will very clearly be able to see exactly where you spent your time, and if you add colour coding your calendar into the mix, it will be evident at first glance what your priorities are. Here's an example of what my week might look like, where you can see the balance of internal meetings in light blue, growth-related activities in green, and everyday operational tasks in yellow. These all have to fit around personal commitments such as family time, hobbies, and life logistics, which are shown in orange here. If you want to maximise your productivity and reduce time spent suffering from overwhelm, which in turn might mean you end up procrastinating, then maybe you should give timeboxing a try. Here are my 6 top tips to get you started. Number 1, get clear on your priorities. Where should you be spending most of your time to really drive growth? What are the projects you need to prioritise on a regular basis to ensure you're making progress in those critical areas? Do you need to ensure you spend a certain percentage of your time on the delivery of client work, or are you solely focused on business development? Once you're clear on your priorities, you can start building out your calendar. Number 2, add regular commitments to your calendar. In this example, we're going to start with a blank canvas, but I know in reality your diary is probably already pretty full. So it might be that you start with small steps and gradually make adjustments over time, or that you review your calendar for the next week or month and try this new way of working. I want you to begin by adding all your personal commitments that absolutely must happen on a daily or weekly basis. This includes things like family responsibilities, hobbies, travel time, walking the dog, any personal appointments you might have. You can see here I've added activities related to my children, my horses, and time for dinner with my family each evening. Don't forget to add in time for a lunch break, even if it's just a short one, and even if currently you rarely take one. Number 3, add routine work in. Next, you need to add in anything work-related that needs to happen regularly. This could be team meetings, one-to-ones, or operational activities. I like to have dedicated time for my emails at the start of the day so I can handle anything quick and easy, delegate where appropriate, or schedule time in for tasks that will need longer to handle. I also like to clear what I can before I log off so I can make any necessary adjustments and so I know what I need to focus on the following day when I'm back at my desk. You'll notice I try to group my meetings as that's how I prefer to work, and I also have a slot on Thursday afternoons, which is where I try to slot in any additional meetings that only happen monthly or perhaps on a project basis. Try to be realistic about the time you need for anything you add, and remember the rule of Parkinson's law. Work will always expand to fill the time allotted for its completion, so be realistic but not too generous with how much time you block for each activity. Number 4, priority time. Now that we have this outline schedule mapped out, we can easily spot where the gaps are. If you get to this point and there aren't any gaps, you need to stop and revisit those regular commitments and start delegating more of your responsibilities. If you don't make time for deep work, you aren't spending your time in the right way and you won't be able to drive real growth for your business. We can see some nice clear chunks of time free here, so I'm going to add items which are priorities for me right now. That includes producing content like this for my weekly videos, posting and engaging on social media, and the main one, which is business development. In that BD slot, I can only do work which directly impacts the growth of my business. That might be following up on leads, compiling useful resources for potential clients, meeting with prospects, or talking to current clients. Ahead of the week starting, I'll add specific tasks to those growth slots so I know exactly what I want to achieve in that time. Number 5, keep things flexible. Now, of course, this is a simplified version of what the week often looks like, and there needs to be a degree of flexibility because urgent things can and do crop up. But the good thing about this system is that you have room to move things around and adapt the schedule as needed. For example, you can simply drag things around to accommodate your needs. I might look at the weather forecast and decide I want to get my ride in over lunch because it's going to pour with rain later in the day. I might need to factor in covering some client work, or there could be an event I want to attend, or I might need to produce more content because I'm taking holiday in a couple of weeks. But it's vital to be mindful of that green growth time and to ensure other non-important items aren't regularly eating up that high value time, because you will quickly see that reflected in the rate at which you make progress you desire for the business. Number 6, review and revise. I would also advise that you update your calendar retrospectively so it truly reflects what has happened during the day. If your time does get eaten up by something unexpected, adjust your diary so you can see what it was and consider where else you can make up the time that was planned for that task that was bumped out. For me personally, my availability during the day is limited, so although I've not shown it here, I actually like to complete some of my green tasks early in the morning because it suits me to be up early and working on growth activities when my mind is fresh and interruptions are kept to a minimum. I love the feeling of starting the day having made a dent on something important. Figure out what works best for you and reflect that in your schedule. As you become accustomed to working in this way, you'll get better at estimating how long tasks take and at what times of the day you produce your best work. So, a quick recap on getting started with timeboxing and supercharging your productivity. Get clear on your priorities. Schedule both routine but necessary personal work commitments and tasks. Protect your time for deep work and make it a priority in your calendar. Keep things flexible and regularly review and revise. Above all, make sure your diary is working for you and you don't become a slave to back-to-back meetings, operational tasks, and ending the week frustrated at not dedicating enough time to high-value activities. I hope you found this episode helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'd love to hear whether you give timeboxing a try and how you get on with it. It's been a game changer for me, so I hope it is for you too. I'll see you next week for episode 24.